a key important component. And especially as we're having so many new changes in education from the state level, it's so important that we are constantly allowing our teachers an opportunity to get professional development, to be current on best practices, and raise the bar in terms of expectations of what they know about education, so that then that can transcend to student learning. Changing the content, making sure the content is state adopted, is relevant, and is current. And to alter the relationship of student to teacher and the content. And if you change one of those things, you change this teacher, you change the student, you change the content, everything is affected. Those three are intertwined and the heart of all that we do. So it is so important as a district that we focus on the instructional core, and over the past few years we have been focusing on the core. And if you look at the framework here, this is from PELP's Coherence Framework, and if you look at it carefully, it really is important. This is essentially all that we are doing in the district. In the center is, again, the instructional core, the student, the teacher, and the content. The theory of change is what Dr. Woodard brought to the district here, and these are our 6 essentials. We talk about the essentials, and I've talked about the essentials for years. And because of those essentials, we have put into place systematic strategies that are in line with the culture, the structure, the systems, the resources, and the stakeholders of our district. And on the outside of the framework are the things that we can't control coming from the state. And together, if these are all aligned correctly, we will strengthen the instructional core. So what we have done is taken a microscope of our district and looked at each level to make sure that the theories and the practices that we have put into place truly are impacting the instructional core for its benefit. Instruction strategies are next essential. It is important that we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum. You guys saw at our last board meeting our STAR scores across the board in math as it gets older are plummeting. There's something going on. So here we are by January 1st. All teachers at every school site will post current standards that they are teaching in their classroom for students and visitors to see. They'll be using state-adopted materials. Teachers are expected to teach students the skills that they need to reach proficiency. We are asking that the teachers teach the standards. They must show that by posting the standards and the rubrics in the classrooms, so that when everybody walks into the classroom, not only do the teachers have evidence that they're working on this current skill, but the students understand that this is what they need to know.
Can I ask you about that, which is, and the technology may lag a little bit, but sort of this notion of posting it in the classroom is sort of a long way behind posting it on the portal, posting it on the web in a way that can be accessed on a regular basis from parents.
Sure.
Is that part of the overall plan?
As we align those resources and getting those school websites in place, absolutely there needs to be a tab for each parent to click on their grade level and look at those essential standards. Even better is if you are posting projects on the web, making sure it's linked to that specific standard, and even to the rubric eventually, so that parents know the expectation.
As you know, these reports are done periodically throughout the year. We've got a first interim which covers actual data through October, through the end of October, and then there is a second interim report which is done and submitted in March, which covers actual data from January through January 31st until the district starts the cycle over again and develops its adopted budget. So these are the budget assumptions. These are per county. We're basically flat. We're not funded with any COLA. There's no COLA this year. There's no COLA next year, 13, 14. In fact, we haven't had a COLA in 5 years. It's been quite some time since there's been a cost of living adjustment. As you can see, the deficit factor on the revenue limit deficit on the second line there, that's basically the amount that gets chopped off our total revenue limit. So these are the assumptions. Next slide, please. I want to start by giving you just a brief overview of Proposition 30. This has been in the news for quite some time. I'm sure you've all been hearing about this throughout the year. Come election day, early November, I'm sure we're all kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with Prop 30. Is it going to pass? What is it going to do? And really there were two main implications of Prop 30. And first one is temporarily increasing the state sales tax, and that's a 0.25% that goes through 2016. It actually takes into effect in January of 2013 of next year, so that money begins to be collected in the beginning of next year. The other component to Proposition 30 is the temporary increase in the income tax for high-income earners, which I'm not one of. But that actually applies to individuals who earn over $250,000 per year, couples earning over $500,000 a year. These are considered the wealthiest taxpayers, and their taxes actually go up. And that actually retroactively takes place January of 2012. So it goes back to the beginning of this year. And so what does Proposition 30 do? It actually prevents cuts. And we would have faced about a $457 per kid per 88 reduction had this initiative failed. And if you want to talk about in dollar values, that would have been about $650,000 per year, about $1.85 million over a 3-year period. And so we would be having a very different conversation right now had the initiative failed. And it's ironic because it was polling actually under 50% during just before the election. I mean, I was watching the news, and I was actually quite surprised that it ended up getting a 54% voter approval and ended up passing because of the fact that the last 8 initiatives for increasing taxes have failed in the past. So this was a little bit of a surprise. Many people in school finance believe that this initiative would have failed, and we're also somewhat surprised to see it passed. It's actually a good thing for us in the sense that we didn't have to look into further budget cuts. However, there's no increase to the overall state funding. We budgeted optimistically that this thing would pass. So this doesn't increase any of the revenues that the district is getting. We budgeted for this. We're glad that it passed, but it doesn't do anything for our funding. We're still funded significantly below what we were funded back in 7-8, back during the last good year before all of these cuts to the COLA and these large revenue limit deficits. We're still back. We're still below that time. And additionally, what the EPA does is it creates a mechanism, a vehicle, for which to collect these income taxes and sales taxes. And what that is called is the EPA, or Education Protection Account.